You have some time to look at questions 16 to 20. Now listen and answer questions 16 to 20.
As the final matter for today's meeting, I am delighted to show you the plans for our proposed new extension to the reception area. Please turn your attention to the plan in front of you. If you enter through the entrance doors and go around the sharp corner, you will find on your left the new box office. From this position, the box office manager can both sell tickets and ensure that no visitors are able to enter the museum without paying. From here, if you walk towards the door on the far left wall, you will come across our new children's room, where visitors can leave their children to play whilst they explore our displays. Directly to the right of the children's room is where we originally intended to locate the cafe, but we felt that it would be better placed in the bottom right corner of the plan, where we can create a more intimate atmosphere. Due to generous donations, we now have the available funds to build a fantastic new multimedia room, where visitors will have access to computers, cameras, and TVs. This exciting new space will be in the top right corner, where it is safely away from the entrance doors. Finally, the showroom will be built in the top left corner, directly opposite the new multimedia room. I hope that you are all as excited about this new space as I am. And now that I am finished, I would be happy to answer any questions.
That is the end of section 2. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Now turn to section 3. Section 2. You will hear a tour guide introducing a resort called Mangrove Tree. First, you'll have some time to look at questions 11 to 17. Now listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 17.
Welcome to all of you. Can everybody see and hear me? Good. I'm David, your guide for this tour of the Mangrove Tree Resort. I'll start today with some general background information. As there have been a number of changes made, I printed the map of the new complex for each of you. And I'd just like to point out where everything is, and then you can take a look at it for yourself. Basically, the best feature of our new location is that we have our own private beach, which is on the left and accessible directly from the hotel. Now we're standing at the information desk, and we're going to look at the views in each direction. Out to the west, there's a gift shop where guests can shop for small trinkets made by local villagers from shells and starfish. If you look carefully up there, on the other side of the restaurant, there's a state-of-the-art spa facility just next to the grove of palm trees, where guests can have treatments including massage or detoxify their body in the steam room. A major drawback of our previous hotel complex was that there was no room for an on-site helicopter port, which meant that our most important guests were forced to commute from the local airport. As we were unable to construct a suitable facility on the eastern side, we have constructed a large heliport to the north. Guests wishing to stretch their legs after a long flight can simply head south to the tennis courts for a match on our splendidly manicured courts. Now if you look in front of you, there's a swimming pool in the centre equipped with slides and a diving board, which is the main feature of the new complex, and is overlooked by all of the other buildings. We have decided to maintain the family-friendly status of our original hotel. However, from guest service, we have come to realise that parents also enjoy time to relax without having to look after their children. Therefore, we have constructed a fun play centre where parents can leave their children with a trained childminder and take some time for themselves. This facility is located just to the north of the swimming pool and is covered with a small canopy to protect the children from the sun. Many of our working guests will require access to a quiet space for work. If you direct them just south of the swimming pool, they will discover our conference centre, which comes complete with meeting rooms, offices and Wi-Fi access. In order to access the Wi-Fi network, they should simply report to the information desk, where an assistant will provide them with a personal password. This desk is situated just between the conference centre and the beach. Finally, the complex also contains a large sports centre where guests can enjoy our gym facilities and take part in sessions for yoga and pilates. Overlooking the swimming pool from the southeast, the centre offers stunning views of the entire complex and across the ocean.
Section 2. You will hear the organiser of a rock festival talking to the exhibitors and performers at a planning meeting. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 17 on page 3. Now listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 17.
Good evening, everyone. I'm glad you could all make this planning meeting for what promises to be the biggest and most colourful free rock festival ever held in the South East. So whether you're a performer, a craft exhibitor or an artist, we all extend a big welcome to you. Could we turn first to the plan so I can familiarise you with the layout of the site, which, as you know, is an old football stadium. We're really lucky to have so much space this year. You can see the main gate at the bottom of the plan. Have you found it? That's where most visitors will enter. It's also the entrance for those taking part in the craft fair. We've set the stalls just inside the gate on the left in a circle. If you walk straight ahead from the gate along the path without turning right, you'll come to some steps up to the football stadium. On the left of the steps is the fringe stage. This is for alternative artists. They include folk singers, poets and other acts which are more suited to a smaller stage. And they should also enter by the main gate. On the opposite side of the steps is a restaurant, and adjoining that is the main festival information point. Here you can get extra programmes and up-to-the-minute information about events, and you can discuss any last-minute problems, although we hope everything will be running smoothly when the festival opens. Coming back to the plan, you go up the stairs to the stadium. The entrance for the rock bands is on the far side, and on your right is the main stage, which will have powerful illumination and amplification throughout the weekend. There will probably be TV vehicles adjacent, that's in this area only, for recording purposes. If you look at the outside of the plan, you can see a third gate for exhibitors, opening onto a side path. A little way down the path, before you get to the trees, is the building where the art exhibition's being housed. Then, finally, there's just one more building marked on your plan, quite near the main gate. It's divided into lock-up garages, so I hope you now feel quite familiar with the main festival area.
You have some time to look at questions 27 to 30. Now listen and answer questions 27 to 30.
Here's the mill. You see, basically you have a vertical water wheel which was used to power the grinding stones.
It sounds really interesting. Will we film inside?
Yes, that's where the final scene between the girl and the man takes place. Our plan is to fix one camera outside by the window next to the door to film through the window, and then have another handheld camera inside the mill. That means we can get two views of the same scene. We were going to do something using a mirror, but we decided that would be too complicated.
Yes, by doing it that way, all we'll need is lights on the inside, next to the wall behind the wheel, which can shine across to the opposite wall.
Will that give enough light?
I think so, because the scene is in the evening. It shouldn't be too bright. The actors will be carrying torches too.
And we'll have an old screen made of wood just inside the door, because it's a new door and it'll look wrong. The lights won't shine directly on it, so it'll be fine.
So you won't actually show the door open?
No. There's a huge box on the floor against the wall farthest from the wheel. We'll see the girl approaching the mill on her bike. Then we see through the window and the man is inside looking at it. Then the next shot is the girl in the room with him opening the box.
So it'll be a mysterious ending.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's going to be a great project.
Good.
Thanks.
That is the end of section 3. You now have half a minute to check your answers. You have some time to look at questions 15 to 20. Now listen and answer questions 15 to 20.
Right. Now, if you'd like to gather a little closer to the window, I'll point out the various buildings. We're at the highest point of the stadium, here in the rooftop cafe, on the opposite side to the main entrance doors. On our left, you can see two buildings just beyond the end of the stadium. The closest one is the business centre, used for meetings and conferences and so on, which provides a good source of revenue for the upkeep of the sports facilities. And next to the business centre, the bigger building is the hotel, which is rented from us by an independent company. As you see, they are served by the perimeter road, which runs round 3/4 of the site. Now, coming round to the front of the building, immediately in front of the entrance, that circular open space at the end of the road is the transport hub. From here, there are buses and a monorail link to the free car park, about 10 minutes from here, but you can't see that. There's also a large, secure cycle park. Oh, and disabled parking, of course. People find it's very convenient and it keeps the site virtually car-free. OK, now if you look as far as you can over to the right, beyond the buildings, you can see our outdoor pitches, which I mentioned earlier. Between the pitches and the entrance is a little kind of pedestrian plaza. Are you with me? OK, with the cinema in the building furthest away from us, next to the pitches. Then there's the 10-pin bowling between the cinema and the road. Near the far end of the perimeter road and between the mini roundabout and the pitches, there's our fitness centre with all kinds of equipment and a small pool and changing rooms for teams using the pitches. Then, joined onto the stadium, next to the entrance, is a range of small shops, which all specialise in sports equipment, clothes, shoes. They sell toys and so on as well, all that sort of thing. They seem to be doing well. As you see, the service road goes right round, but we keep the traffic and the pedestrians well apart. So it's all very relaxed round the plaza, popular with families. And just in front of the bowling is our lovely restaurant. You can see it from here. It's that building on the plaza between us and the bowling. It's open all day and in the evenings. There's quite a queue there at weekends, I'm pleased to say. So, now you've got the layout, we can go and have a closer look at everything.
Oh, that was good. You have some time to look at questions 15 to 20. Now listen and answer questions 15 to 20.
Now, if you'd like to look at your map, we'll begin our tour. The site is a bit like a circle, with the railway going round the edge. You can see where we are now by the entrance, and we're going to start by walking to the high street. We'll go to the crossroads in the middle of the map and go straight on, making our way between two buildings on either side of the path. The larger one is an exhibition centre, but it's not open today, unfortunately. The other building is offices. The path leads directly to the High Street building, which is at the opposite side of the site to the entrance. Here you're free to wander around and take a ride up and down on a tram. We'll then take the path which follows the railway line and crosses it to the farm. If you wish, you can have tea in the farmhouse, and there'll be time to look at the animals and the machinery. Then we cross the railway line again and visit our special attraction, which is the coal mine. It's just in front of us, here at the entrance. We'll return to the crossroads and walk through a small wooded area to the manor house. This is one of the original buildings on the site and belonged to a wealthy farmer. You can look round the house and gardens and talk to our guides who can tell you what it was like to live there. We will then follow a path which goes past the pond and will take us to the railway station, which is situated between the path and the railway line. Finally, we'll take the steam train back around the site, passing alongside the high street and the coal mine back to the entrance. So, if you'd like to follow me...
That is the end of section 2. You now have half a minute to check your answers. and answer questions 25 to 30.
Well, I was really impressed by something I saw on a roof in Cornwall, and I'd like to design something similar. You have an area of planting, and I'm thinking of installing this lighting in an area filled with low-growing evergreen shrubs.
You'd have to have lights and things well away from anywhere children might be. But I can see this could be very effective, if a bit complicated. How would it work? On this drawing, this is a section view. You have this low wall on the right.
Yes, that's it. This is just one element, and these areas would be repeated all round the planted area. I think this will probably be a wooden wall using reclaimed timbers with an angled ceramic top surface.
Perhaps even ridge tiles, like they use on roofs?
Ah, yes. That'd be just the sort of thing. And that'd make it weatherproof. And then the heavy-duty electric wiring comes up through the floor just outside the planted area and into the wall. Then it's brought through to a projector low in the side of the wall, and that sends a beam of light along the fibre optic cable.
So there's no electricity in the actual lights. The fibre optic goes across the surface of the soil in the planting area.
Yes, that's the beauty of it. The shrubs will soon grow to cover it up, of course. And then the cable goes past a wooden post, which is between the shrubs and can be a support for them as they grow bigger, and then runs up into each element of the installation.
So the light beam is carried up to the top of each element and illuminates a kind of conical glass cap? I see. Is that the bit which would glow in the dark?
Yes.
And what's the cap supported on? Is it a wall?
No, it's a slender acrylic rod, like the stem of a flower or mushroom, which the cable runs up inside of.
Well, I'll be interested to see the final drawings.
Oh, thank you. I'm looking forward to putting it all together.
You will hear an audio guide to a public library. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 15. Now listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 15.
Welcome to the Selmore Public Library, which has just been reopened after major refurbishment. This tour will introduce you to the building and its services. At any time you can stop the tour. We enter by the cafe, and our tour begins at the issue desk. If you stand between the information desk and the issue desk and look at the opposite wall, you will see shelves of books in the left-hand corner. This is where you will find a large number of novels and short stories. They are arranged alphabetically. If you are looking for something in particular, and it's not on the shelf, you can reserve it. The next area, directly opposite the issue desk, is a section where people can study. The library provides computers for users free of charge on the next floor, beside the reference books. But this area is for people to use their own laptops. You should ask for the internet passcode at the information desk. In the right-hand corner of this floor, there is a cafe. A selection of daily newspapers is always available there, but you can also take magazines into the cafe to read while you have a drink. You will find these on the racks to the left of the cafe, and there is a large selection. They are for reference only and cannot be borrowed, but you are welcome to photocopy any articles of interest. We ask you to return them when you have finished. You are not allowed to take fiction or any other books from the shelves into the cafe. Next to the cafe is the exit door leading to the stairs and escalator to the other floors. The largest collection of books in the library is fiction, and the next largest is non-fiction, which is in the corner of this floor opposite the cafe. These can all be borrowed, as opposed to the reference books on the next floor, most of which cannot be taken out of the library, but they can be photocopied. There are several photocopiers available for this purpose downstairs in the basement. To one side of the issue desk is a door leading onto a gallery. This was added to the library as a public space where talks are given once a week on a Saturday by visiting authors of both fiction and non-fiction. It also houses the biography section. There are notices advertising the talks in the study area. Any books that you want to borrow should be taken to the issue desk. Before we leave this floor, I will give you some information about using the library. There are also helpful notices by the information desk.